Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to another session of Awaken Your Spirit. I am Julie Murphy and we are dealing with some funky energy these days. How about it, David?
Oh yeah, we're going through quite a cycle of change and a cycle of reconfiguration of energy and consciousness. And ultimately, it's like we're all being asked to really look at our belief systems and see what feels true or what needs to be tossed.
Right,
And,
exactly.
yeah, so it's a real shift of perception. And I think we're all being pushed energetically by all the light that's coming in on the planet to really clear and clean up maybe a lot of our old thought forms, emotional programming, and go, it's sort of like cleaning out the house. It's like, this doesn't belong anymore. I'm tossing it out. I'm getting rid of it. And
Yep.
it's that kind of thing.
Yep. And it's really interesting that those of you who are watching, you're probably experiencing something in your life or multiple things, because I've got it going on in multiple areas of my life going, are you going to choose the old way that you interfaced in the world? Or are you going to choose the new way that you want to interface in the world? It's like, I'm not going to go the old way anymore. I'm like, that door is closed. And it's like, no. I really want to manifest exactly the life that I want to live right now. And it's time to get busy doing it, because it's way too easy to slip into those old patterns and slip into those things that you really don't want in your life any longer.
And I think that brings up a really good point, Julie, is that what may be happening is you're going through this internal reconfiguration is going to create an external change. And that could be that means that people in situations that have been in your life are going to be moving out, and different people and different opportunities are going to be coming in.
And we have to allow it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. Like, we stop it. We move it through. Like, why do we always want to call and fix it? We don't have to call and fix it. We don't have to try to fix it. And it was like, I was thinking about it, like a great example in my life recently was, I gave my parents for the holidays, I gave them the gift of having somebody clean their house once a month. Now that they're in their 70s, things are a little bit tougher for them to do. And so it's just like, you know what? Why not? And then my mom shares with me, she goes, oh, I want to organize that lady getting my house clean because I want to clean the house for the birthday party that 2 of your siblings are having at my house for their kids. And I was like, no, the house cleaning isn't for you to prepare for a party. It's so that the whole month you have a clean house. Why don't you have the housekeeper come afterwards? And I was like, fine, Mom, if that's how you want to spend your gift, great. In the past, what I would have done is I would have been like calling up my siblings and being like, come on, clean the house beforehand, and then I'll have the cleaner clean it after, And to me, it was just like, I just stepped back and go, okay, whatever you want to do, Mom, and I just completely backed off the throttle. And, and it's like, nope, I gave the gift, just let her use the gift in whatever way she chooses, as opposed to trying to interface as to how I thought it would be better, because it's really none of my business at that point,
Right.
So food for thought, that's a simple example of how we can choose. We choose our suffering cycles, and we don't realize how much we actually do that.
Right. And I think another component of this, as things start shifting and people and situations start to move and shift in our lives, is also the emotional component. So that would be people that may be leaving our lives that we've had an emotional attachment to, and the resolution of that within us. It's like, and then we don't always have control of that. That things just happen. People, for whatever reason, are moving on, and and that usually means, if we're open to it, that other people, other situations are coming in. And the fact that you may have several people moving out of your life doesn't indicate failure. It may indicate that you're actually in a process of evolution, and that in that process of evolution, you've had that time with those people, and now you're moving on into a whole nother spectrum of life and consciousness. And that requires people with a whole different framework.
Right. Well, and it's about you and I did an individual session yesterday, right? And it was about the fact that I knew my old patterning was creeping up on me, and I really wanted to make sure I was tapping into the new and not in the old. And because everything's vibrational, and it was just like, okay, I could feel that internal static. I could feel that internal going, no, no, no. See, what I do, which I know a lot of women do out there, is that we pull it up to our brains, and then we're like, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And this scenario and that scenario. And it's like, we get that monkey mind going.
Right.
Right. And then we pick up the phone and we talk to everybody about it. And it's like, no, we gotta be very aware that all of that is energy. You talking about your problems, or being a victim of something, or talking about the I love highlighting this one right now. It's like, even talking about the crazy politics that are going on right now. Like, yes, we all have a position, but we have to understand that we're plugging into that vibrational level, as opposed to staying in the observer of it and going, okay, let this just shake out wherever collective consciousness is meant to shake it out, And so I knew yesterday, I wanted to interrupt that pattern so that I wasn't and picking up the phone and, trying to work through this verbally, with anybody. I just wanted to shift it inside of myself, not try to shift it outside of myself, if that makes sense. And so often that's what many of us do, is that we go to the outside and we talk to 50 million people about it. And that's just energizing more of the same of what you don't want to create. And we don't realize how we are the creators of that.
Right. And I think that, it's like, particularly when something activates us, and all of a sudden we're having quite a response mentally, emotionally, to something that has triggered us.
Right.
And a lot of times you're like, I don't want to be in this cycle with myself right now. I don't want to listen to myself. This is not what I want to be thinking about or feeling. Right.
Right.
And so it's like, it's like resolving that to where you're back to where you're in moment to moment flow, and you feel like you're not being pulled out of whatever your present state is, or state of presence, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
And all this other monkey mind stuff that just will go on and on if we'll allow it. And if there's a lot of people thinking about the same thing, it's even harder to manage it sometimes.
Well, and we talked about this last week in terms of the fact that, are we feeling our stuff, or is it everybody else's stuff? Right. So I was noticing, like, my kids, last week, they were like a little, hyper, if you will, and it was just like, no, 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 like, this is just because they were in different energy. And then when they came to my place, it was like, whoa, let's chill out. So be mindful of how it's showing up for you in your life, because everybody's processing something at a different level. And we'll see. Like, we were just told in Chicago that we're opening back up again. I find it very interesting that it's happening the day before the inauguration. I'm like going, and people are talking about, like, is there another agenda to that? Why did the Democrats? I go, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm super excited that I can go sit in a restaurant now and not freeze my butt off and actually have a meal. Like, it's like, what are we focusing on? What are we choosing to plug into? And it's like, I don't want to plug into anything except for what's going to create exactly the life that I want to live. I want to focus on the fact that I'm getting on my Peloton treadmill every day, no matter what, whether it's running or doing a yoga class, or because I want to sculpt the body that I want, at 48 years old, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, we only have so much energy in a day, and how do we plug into what it is that we desire? If that makes sense.
Right. So really what you're saying there is then you start to be being the creator of your experience rather than the reactor of whatever is thrown at you.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people just get into a reactive experience and it carries them away.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, at the end of your day, you're like, where have I been all day?
Right.
You know, well, I've been in a
You're
react.
exhausted.
Yeah.
Like,
And, that's kind of like letting somebody steal your soul. It's like, it's like to come in and to be in our core and be focused and doing what we want to do in a focused way is really important, because
right.
then we're connected into our heart and our soul.
Right.
And so, when things run away with us,
Right.
um,
So
you
true.
know, it's not to judge ourselves for that, but it's to get ourselves back in alignment with ourselves as quickly as possible.
Yep. Yep. So I have somebody asking, who is the gentleman? Can you tell people a little bit about yourself, David, so that they know who you are and what we're doing? I thank you, Patty, for bringing that up, because we'll reiterate. David, tell people a little bit about yourself.
Well, hi, everybody. And, I have been working with energy for many years now. I was trained as a shaman probably about 30 years ago. And so what has been my life passion is moving into states of opening the heart. Okay, so part of opening the heart is it's a decision that we're going to open our heart. Now, a lot of people have closed our hearts because they've been in so much pain and they've been struggling, right?
Right.
And so we think that the way to protect ourselves is to have our heart closed. And what it does is it takes a part of us and removes the joy, and it removes the vitality of our lives. So once you make that decision to open your heart, and all that takes is really a decision, then we start to move into a whole new awareness. So there's this kind of internal transformation that starts to happen. And once we do that, if we start to listen to what's going on in our heads, we'll notice that there's repeat stories that go on endlessly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I call that the story of your life. And the story of your life really dominates you until you start to wake up to it and go, I don't want to listen to this story. In fact, this story is just a bunch of BS. And it's not serving me. It takes me into pain. It takes me into all sorts of places that I don't want to go. So the point of that is, it's like, I want to wake up now and I want to feel the love. I really want to feel my heart. When somebody suggested I do that, at first I was like, are you out of your mind? Why would I want to open my heart? Because it seems to me all that I experienced was suffering. And, it's like, when we can get past that program of suffering. So if you notice, a lot of people on the planet are suffering.
Right.
And that's not a really engaging way to spend your life. So as we start to wake up and go, wait, what am I doing? And why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? And what am I going to do about it? Is there
Right.
something I can do about it? So
Mm-hmm.
my passion is, I asked myself those questions. And then I started sharing with others the experiences I had and helping them find solutions, and helping them to get out of the story of their life so they can get into their now, into the present, and into being creators of their own lives rather than reactors.
Mm-hmm. And when I had met you, it was like, I knew I was living a life that wasn't 100% authentic. I didn't really know exactly at the time what was off. At the time it was, the big core to it was my marriage, that I was living in a marriage where it was more of a mother-son relationship as opposed to a partnership, and not good or bad. I was the second oldest of 12 kids and I knew how to mother, and he was the youngest of 4 and he knew how to be taken care of, and we both played that role. And all of a sudden it was like, I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't plug into the world anymore like that. And then life events had unfolded that made that less tolerable. And when I met you, you just really helped me continue to work on my inside. as opposed to, well, what's authentic for Julie? What aligns you with your soul and what you came to this earth to do? Because there are so many people, because remember, I'm the money chick, right? But money is only the result of everything else in your life. And it was interesting, like the year I got out of my marriage, my net profit of my company went up by 30%. It was like I was literally living everything that I teach in that year in a big way. And it was like, wow, that's kind of crazy that that happened, you know, because money is energy as well. And so many of us flip that. You know, we flip it to where we go to work, we have a job to pay our bills, and then we try to think about, well, are we authentically ourselves afterwards? Like, but it's got to be the other way. Otherwise, we create disease in our body over time, or you know, we create these suffering cycles. So that's why I thought it was so important. You know, David and I, for those of you watching, like, we want to help you shift. We want you to align with your authentic self so that you are the ultimate creator of your life and you create exactly what you desire in your life. And so many people will say to us, being like, well, I don't know how to get there. It's like, you know, if we shift energetically, then everything else will show up. So why don't we get people into the energy, David? Because I'll tell you, you will physiologically feel the energy that David shares, and particularly come back every Tuesday when we do this, because I guarantee you it will shift your life. It has significantly shifted mine since I met David 5 years ago now, I think it has been. And whether you do it in group settings, and I would highly encourage, like, if you're drawn, you know, get a hold of David. His website's right there below his name, 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫.com, because you may need a one-on-one sessions, you know, to really help get you to your core and where it is that you need to be. So David, why don't you walk people through here so they can start creating a life that they love?
All right. So one thing I'd like to say is when we start today, we'll start bringing energy through your body. And as that energy, as that light starts coming into your body, see if you can really feel it going into your limbs, you know, see if you can feel the vitality of that, because what happens is you become more masterful in bringing through beautiful vibrations of light, vibrations of love, you know, it's a vibrational universe. And so as you learn how to bring high frequency into your body, into your consciousness, it reconfigures your entire life. It also reconfigures your physical self. And so by doing that, it's like when you're really paying attention to that energy coming into your body, what you'll start to notice is over a period of time, you start to be vibrating, literally physically, at a higher frequency. And that's going to give you more vitality. It's going to give you the capacity to do things that you want to do so that you don't feel so tired. And so anyway, we're going to start on this journey. And for those of you that are new to it, just do it. You can't do it a wrong way. Okay, just do it your way. Allow the energy to flow. If you don't understand some of the verbiage, just doesn't matter.
Close your eyes and receive. You know, just close your eyes and relax, because you will start to feel it on a cellular level.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I'd like everybody to go into their center, and your center is going to be your heart center. Okay. So that's at the very core of your being. The heart is a really important part of this process. And so I'd like you to go into your heart, into your center. And I'm going to start with guiding you with a guided direction. So I'd like you to imagine or experience yourself in 13 pyramids of light. So these are 13 pyramids that are stacked on top of each other. And they're like the big pyramids at Giza in Egypt. Huge pyramids of light. And at the base of the pyramid will be 3 circles of light of 13 mama dragons, 13 pointed stars, and 13 dream weavers. And I'd like you to feel this 24-karat plasma light. So this is this light, really powerful light coming from the central sun, going into your toes, your arches, your heels. Feel that vibration and light in your ankles. And we're going to move that light up your legs. I'd like you to feel it flowing into your hips. And when we get to the base of your spine, I want you to place a radiant sun, a central sun at the base of your spine. So just feel a luminous sun just blazing, feeling how good that feels to have that light, that power at the base of the spine. And we're going to move that light up the spine. And when we get to your heart center, we're going to place another central sun in the heart. And I want you to feel the radiance of that sun. And if your heart's been closed, just feel it starting to open up with that radiance. Just feel the sun. You know, it's just when you have a day where the sun's out and you're like, you know, I know it's going to be a great day. I want you to feel the radiance of that sun, feel the energy of it. And I'm actually going to extend some energy into your heart if that works for you. So let's just like send some energy into the heart center. And for those of you that are really open, you might even feel a little frequency of vibration of ecstasy. You may feel just energy flowing in the heart center, but this is just to open the heart. And for the moms out there, I like to suggest that you have two thoughts in mind, could work for the dads too, is one great way to open the heart is to think how much you love your children and how you would do anything for your children. And then particularly for the moms out there, the other energy that you might want to open is Mama Bear. Now, Mama Bear is the part of you that if your children are threatened, all of a sudden it ignites a power in you to take care of them. And so I think this is a really fundamental part of the divine feminine. And even if you're a guy, we're opening up both our male and female now. So, you know, that's part of what that's a very powerful energy just to open up Mama Bear and that whole protective thing. And it also kind of connects into Mother and the Earth and all the protection that we need to do with taking care of our Earth and that Mother. So we're going to move that energy, continuing that light up the spine. I'd like you to feel it flowing into your shoulders, your upper arms, your lower arms, your hands, your fingers. Feel that light and energy in your palms. And I'd like you to imagine or experience a central sun in your palms and your fingertips, just feeling the creativity of your hands coming alive. We use our hands for so many things. We just want to really open up the power of that. Very good. And then we're going to move to the brain stem. And the brain stem, we're going to place another central sun, which is feeling the radiance of that sun and feeling it really starting to activate our whole neurostructure. Feel it starting to switch on our whole connection of the neurons in our brain. And we're going to, before we move into the neurostructure, I want to activate a field of energy and light from the base of your spine. So where we place the central sun at the base of the spine, we're going to bring that energy through your heart and up to the brain stem and back, and kind of a figure 8 of energy, okay? That's going to just recirculate this beautiful light that's recirculating from the base of your spine into your heart, into the base of your brain stem. Okay, and so now we're going to kind of move on and go back into the central sun at the brain stem, and we want to really feel that light switching on the whole neurostructure of your brain. Feel it connecting you into the multiverse. Feel it activating your holographic multidimensional consciousness, as well as connecting into the galactic levels. And just feel that entire the luminosity and the radiance in your brain switching on. And we're going to activate your thymus, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, and your pineal gland. The pineal gland is in the very center of the brain. And that's the part of the brain that connects into the multiverse, into expanded levels of consciousness. You want to really kind of feel that sun and you know, that in your brain at that place, and feel the radiance, feel things lighting up, switching on, connecting. Really, really important to feel that radiance and that light. There you go. And I'm going to have you spiral out your third eye, out your crown, out the apex to the pyramid. And we're going to start traveling through a galactic corridor of light. You're going to be light in form, so that means that you're in a body of light as you travel through this galactic corridor. We're going to merge the plasma of your blood with the plasma that is the central sun. So I want you to feel kind of a fusion of that light with the blood crystals for your whole pulmonary system is being really activated with this radiant light. Feel that moving and coursing through your entire physicality. There we go. And we're going to continue through this galactic corridor. We're going to go through a galactic gateway and go directly into fractals of light and a kaleidoscope of fractal light, a beautiful radiant kaleidoscope of prismatic and fractal light. And I want you to feel yourself just being drawn into the center of this kaleidoscope and the amazing beauty. And as you're in these fractals and as you're in this prismatic light, feel that light starting to purify your entire energy field. Feel your emotional body being cleansed as you go through this. So you might even want to project energy into your physical body, allowing that emotions to project into the kaleidoscope and allow that stuff to clear. So if there's just unresolved stuff, you know, you're just now moving in these fractals of light. You're feeling the radiance of that light. And we're going to continue with that and go directly into the central sun. And the central sun is really an important place to connect, because the sun brings us tremendous vitality. We could not live without the sun. So we're connecting both with the earth and we're connecting with the sun. And I just start traveling in a frequency of light now, so you can feel this light and this energy and this love really starting to reconfigure your being and reconfiguring your consciousness. If you're open to it, invite it in and just feel yourself, just let that light take you on a little bit of a journey. And maybe if your heart hasn't been open, you might consider doing that now. Really going, okay, I'm going to open my heart. You know, when I first considered opening my heart, I had a real consideration. It was like, well, you know, is this just going to just open me up to all the heartache that I've been through? That seems like a really stupid idea. And I realized that was, you know, that concept was just part of an old program that was blocking me from really being able to access my heart center, my power center, a tremendous source of intelligence and radiance. And it was like, so this is our opportunity to go into a whole new level of ourselves, perhaps. And even if we've been in our heart, to expand that, to really let that expand. And I think it's so important now with such a diversity of energy going on in our globally and in our country, that we set a vibrational frequency that we want to vibrate on, so that we're not bouncing off the walls of all this projected negative energy that may be taking us into places that we don't want to go. And so a way to balance that is to go, no, you know what, I'm going to stay in my heart. I'm going to stay in my love, because that's what I want to experience in my life. And that's what I want to create. And ultimately what this is about is that as you get masterful about opening a heart, bringing this energy through, that you start to understand that you are the creator of your universe. That you, as you wake up and understand that you are the creator of your universe, then you become very conscious about what you focus on and what you bring into your life. Okay, so I'm going to just be quiet for a while now. I'm just going to really intensify this energy and let everybody have a little bit of a journey here. And you may find as you work with this energy that it's actually like a fire hose of light. It just literally blows off a lot of the negativity. And feel your heart come alive and feel in all the ways that you've shut down, feel yourself switching back on, feel yourself coming back to life. Feel that life force just pouring through you. Feel you reclaiming yourself. And if life has knocked you down, feel this energy filling you, and just like you're going to get back up. You're going to get back up and show up and go. You're going to move from being a reactor to a creator. Move from a victim to a person that is actively creating amazing things in their lives. Because once you get everybody else's energy and stuff off of you, right, kind of dissolving all that glue of yucky negative emotion, that you just start to feel empowered again and alive. Maybe like you have a voice, and you can let that voice be heard through your love, through your heart, through your joy, through your creativity. And maybe today is your day to decide you're going to quit suffering and start living. How do you do that? You just decide it. That's the start. And you're really going to choose what's true for you through your heart. And a lot of stuff that comes your way, you're going to just let it bypass. Because vibration is not going to, anything negative isn't going to stick to you. As that energy continues, feel yourself really switching on. That parts of you that have been dormant or pushed aside, all of a sudden start to activate again. You're coming alive. And that your heart, your being is being filled with hope rather than resignation. And perhaps last parts of you that you lost, you're reclaiming now. Maybe you can just reach into your passion. For those of you that may have been holding your breath, feel an exhale and go, you know what? I am going to be the creator of my reality. I am not going to be programmed. I am going to choose. And I'm going to choose through my heart, through my soul, to live my life from the very core of my being, from my soul. And eventually, what happens if you pursue this path, this energy, is your soul, that part of you that's the core of you, starts to make itself known. And that's when we're really getting into authentic self. How do we know that? Because, man, that's when the doors of passion, our heart opens, and we just start to really come alive. And we just know. And so there's a place within us when the soul opens, when the heart opens, of knowing. It's not thinking, we just know. And that's a whole other aspect of ourselves that we can use to navigate through our lives. And so I'm going to ask Julie to share with you how she uses knowing to navigate through her world.
Well, it's like building a muscle. I have known that, you know, your knowing is, I can pick any aspect of my life, right? You don't know how things are going to show up. It's detaching from the how, but it's plugging into the fact that you know that that is what will be created because it's in alignment with your soul. So for an example, even this whole awakening series, I am a money person, but I do life planning. That's what they call it in my industry, that I help people with life planning. And I didn't know it would manifest into doing awaken your health, awaken your spirit, awaken your work life, and awaken your relationships. But those are the other aspects of our lives. And I've always known that I was going to help people in different areas of their life. And I had no idea per se how that was going to show up. And this is how it has manifested in the time of coronavirus. But it's like building a muscle because we question it, because I sit there and go, I'm going to be doing what on Facebook Lives? And, you know, but I just always knew that that's what would be created. And I can give examples of that in every area of my life, but you're knowing, how you can recognize it is that you just feel grounded. It just feels right. But then what happens is we pull it up to our brains and we evaluate it, we question it, and that's the process that we need to detach from. Because we don't need to bring it up to our brains and negotiate away. You just need to know that that's your knowing. And in your meditations, I always say that meditations is a way that you listen to God in the universe, and prayer is when you talk to God in the universe. Whatever your belief system is, I believe it's all semantics. But so it's this dialogue that you have where you're listening and then you're speaking to the universe and or God. And tuning into your knowing in that and saying, okay, like in my personal relationships, I want a partner. I do not want someone that I'm going to mother at all. And so I continue to put that intention out there, and I continue to manifest more and more of that in my world. And because that's what I'm intending based on my knowing. And it's just, you feel so grounded, and when you think about it, you giggle because it's so in alignment with your heart and your soul that you can't deny it. Even though if you talk to somebody else about it, they might tell you you're crazy. Um, you just know that that's true for you. And you just continue to keep allowing it to unfold. Such a big piece of this is us allowing ourselves to receive the miracles that can manifest in your life if you can detach enough from the craziness of what's the reality that you've already created in your life. Because we've all got our version of crazy. The question is what's yours?
Right. So, I want to go back to this whole place of knowing. And I think I'm getting I want to talk about it because I feel like somebody can really receive this information today. And that is that when we're at a crossroads where we have to make a decision about something, we may have our mental take on it. This is normally how we would do it, right? And we'll go through we'll go through that process. But sometimes when we get to those crossroads, we'll say, I don't know, my head's telling me one thing, my heart or my intuition is telling me something else. And I don't know about you guys, but it's like when I listen to that heart, it might be diametrically opposed to what my mind tells me. I'll go with the heart. It's always proved to be true. And I think that's so important these days because there's so much information, disinformation, and chaos that we have to really find a way to check in with ourselves and connect into our true north, if you will, that and where can we go within ourselves and trust that knowing. And so it's something that we cultivate within us, but once we cultivate it and once we expand that, it will never deceive us.
Right. Right. And everything always shows up and it always falls into alignment. Always. But it's when we start going against that knowing and we question it, that's when things start to come off the rails.
Right.
Because we think we know better.
So in this day and age where people are so confused, there's so much misinformation, this is really, really core important stuff.
Right.
Because it's like, this is about you going inside into there's a part of you that's brilliant. Your heart has vast intelligence. And I'm not talking about the romantic heart. I'm talking about at the very core of you, to create a relationship with that.
Right.
That's really essential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's super important. And to trust it.
And I know you, Julie, and I, many times when we're working together and talking together, it's like there'll be an issue. And part of our session, part of what we're doing is we're going around that issue, right? And Julie's become very masterful about getting into her knowing because I'll feel her, and in a moment I can feel it. I can feel she's come into solution. Right. And when she moves into solution, then she takes action.
That's how we manifest it in this world, right?
Mm-hmm. And so, without being too personal, it's like when I first met her and she was in this marriage, it was interesting to watch her work through the layers of that to enter her own knowing and take action as to what she needed to do for her and her children, and get out of a program that she'd been in, a very reactive program. And, you know, once you made that big decision, and that was a huge decision, I started watching you, you know, for the next, it's been what, 4 or 5 years now. You really use that as a tool as you move through your life, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, and it's made it easier for other decisions to be made. You know, I mean, once you choose you up and above everything else and choose your knowing, um, God, life just becomes one of ease and grace. And and it does take time, but it's beautiful. It's
So
really
Julia,
beautiful.
I have another question for you. So obviously you have a very gifted intellect, right?
Hmm.
And how have you worked it out between your intellect and your heart and your knowing?
Oh, well, that's why I keep talking about letting go of your monkey mind, because my intellect did not serve me very well, actually. My intellect is kind of been a barrier, if you will,
Mhm.
because remember, I'm a financial planner, so I plan everything. And the problem was, and wouldn't you know, the person who I'm dating is like not a planner at all, like right in the flow of life. And it's like, whoa, you know, um, and it's perfect because you have to start with your heart and your knowing and then add your smarts. And the problem was is that I had lived my whole life. Like I remember asking myself, going, how did I wind up in such a screwed up situation when all I did was take every calculated next right step? Like Julie did everything right. Julie did everything by the book. Julie fell in line. She was the good daughter, the good student, the very accomplished. I did it all. And how did that get screwed up? Like my brain could not um, fathom that, and it was my suffering cycle that I had hooked to, and I now know that if I've pulled it up to my brain and I'm there, I'm out of my knowing. Like it's like when we did our session yesterday individually, I knew I was pulling up to my brain going, well, what about this and what about that? And it's like, no, my knowing knows this. And I need to let go of all that other noise because it's just noise. And it's the noise of my brain. Because remember, we live in a hologram, we live in a mirror in essence. So whatever you speak, whatever you think, and whatever you feel becomes your reality. So from when it comes to my brain, I have to stop pulling it up to my brain and putting those thoughts out in the world, because that's why I keep getting exactly what I keep getting. And so it's like right now I know, like I literally am on it. Like it's like, oh, yep, I can't seem to let go of my monkey brain. Let me shift this energy. And like it's almost instantaneously now, because I'm not going to stay in that energy. I will continue to align with my soul, release these smarts, and have the smarts follow my heart. We've all flipped it. Our educational system has told us that you have to use your brain, you have to calculate this out. Like, I even think about the pandemic right now. Like, we're trying to find all these logical solutions to it. And the pandemic, the virus is going, ha, 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 you think you're controlling nature? I don't think so. And so we keep having these left hooks because we as human beings are trying to control it, whether it be shutting down the economy, shutting down, wearing masks. And I understand there's 100% logic behind all of that. But what I'm saying is that life takes its course. And there are sometimes you have to follow your knowing over your logic. And when you do that all the time, you are a very happy person. Because if you follow your mind over your heart, then you suffer. Was that
Right.
what you were looking for?
That's what I was looking for. Well done. Thank you.
Well,
Wonderful
and
teaching.
I think it's so important that, David and I are here every Tuesday to help you guys get to this next right step and share that energy. And, I put the link below. Get a free copy of my book. I am giving it away because the fact I just want you to pay for your own shipping, because it's time for us all to heal, not only financially, spiritually, health, our relationships, everything. And my book is that roadmap to help you on that journey. So and help our world, share that out in the world, because let's share all the good. There's enough bad out there that's going on. Like, let's share some good. And if you find yourself that you need more help from David, go to 𝑀ichaelGhilardi.com, and it's right there below his picture. And you can do some one-on-one work, or you can join him on his group sessions on Sundays. He can get you the information on that. And join us next Tuesday, because we
Right.
are here to help you on your journey, for you to align with your heart and your soul. Anything else, David?
No, I just enjoyed today immensely. I really was enjoying your sharing and really connecting with everybody, because, it's like together we're moving into a whole new experience. We're creating a new reality, actually. And when we're creating a new reality, there's chaos, because the old is falling away and the new is forming.
Right.
And so even though it can be chaotic, it can also be very productive.
Absolutely. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central. Make
See you
it the best
then.
week ever.
Bye bye.
Bye.